Hi, and welcome back to a special edition of What's Happening Now. I'm your host, Jenny Leiker, and today we have a fabulous group of people here to tell you about tourism all throughout Northwest Kansas. To get us started, we're going to talk about the Fort to Fort tour, and I have Angie and Janet here with me. Angie and Janet are going to tell us all about it, but first, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you do?
Hi, I'm Angie Wells, and I'm the director of Phillipsburg Chamber in Main Street, and also the director of CVB in Phillips County. And so that's what I do. I wear several hats.
And welcome back. We've had
you.
a couple of different segments with you, so it's nice to have you back, Angie.
Thank
Janet,
you.
tell us a little bit about what you do.
My name is Janet Kuhn. I am the Convention Marketing Manager for the City of Hays Convention and Visitors Bureau. And our job is to promote our community to outside visitors and help them while they're in town to see everything that there is to see and do.
So you're the first part of the Fort to Fort series, so tell us about where it all starts.
Well, in our Ultimate Guide of Northwest Kansas, which is the official publication of the Northwest Kansas Travel Council, we have numerous road trips that everyone can take. This will take you step by step from one area of Kansas to the other in the Northwest section. The Fort to Fort actually begins in historic Fort Hays, and they were established back in 1867. So they celebrated their sesquicentennial celebration last year, had a lot of events out at the fort. This year, they will have another event that is helping celebrate the Forsyth Scouts, which we're really excited about. That's an event that's going to be held September 1st and 2nd out at the fort. In addition to the Fort to Fort road trip, we've got a lot of things in between that folks can do. We have magnificent historic churches in Ellis County. This Fort to Fort trip actually begins at the Holy Cross Catholic Church in Pfeiffer, Kansas, comes up through Victoria to the Basilica of St. Fidelis, and then you can head on over to Hays, visit the Sternberg Museum of Natural History, which is always a fun thing for both kids and adults. And we want to make sure that those history buffs do not miss the Ellis County Historical Society Museum in downtown Hays. And so we're excited to share this information with travelers and get them excited about coming to Northwest Kansas.
Now, Hays has a historic walking tour, and I've lived in Hays for many years and only learned about this 2 years ago. So that goes to show you that there's all kinds of things happening in our state that people don't know about. Tell me a little bit about that walking tour.
Okay, we have brochures at our office, which is the Welcome Center at 27th and Vine, and folks can get out on the bricks in downtown Hays and take the brochure along with them and read plaques along the bricks in downtown Hays that talk about what happened in the early 1860s and just expand their knowledge of the history of Hays.
I think it's really fun. It tells you where some of the saloons were and some of the, back when it was really the Wild West, some of the places that the famous people walked. And so that's kind of a neat thing in the Hays area that maybe everybody doesn't know about. And then, of course, the Basilica is one of the 8 wonders of Kansas, right? In Victoria.
Yes, ma'am.
Which I think is quite an honor to have that in our county.
Absolutely.
So as you start at the first part of the Fort tour, then it continues on. And Angie, what happens after you leave this area?
Well, I think some of the other people are going to talk about different things from Plainville to Stockton and so forth. But in Phillips County, we have the Riverless Festival, which is called Riverless because we don't have a river. And so that's going to be always the first weekend in June. And then we have different things like our Majestic Theater there that they built that. It was an opera house way back when. Yes, it was an opera house, and they built that in 1905. And so that you can go and see the movies there on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday nights. And then it was actually an opera house, and then in 1925 is when it became a movie theater. And so there was a lot of different things in there. And then in 2011, they redid it all back to the historical site that it was. And so it's really a neat place to go and visit. We also have our Fort Bissell Museum, which is from the Fort to Fort, and it has several buildings in it. It has a one-room schoolhouse. It has a depot, mercantile. It has a couple log cabins that are really neat. It has a sod house that was built by some of the students back in Phillipsburg to raise money to go to the Orange Bowl. So that was really neat. But Fort Bissell is just really a neat place just to go back, and it has, I don't know, we hold different things there all the time, and it's just a really neat place just to kind of hang out. And it's so funny because you have so many people in our town that have never been there. So you have, it's just really funny to say, have you ever been to Fort Bissell? And they're like, no, never been there. It's just the same thing as in every other town.
Right, exactly.
You have it there and you just don't want to go see it. But I actually was a curator there for 3 years. And so when I did that, I met so many different people from so many different states and countries, and it was just really neat to meet those people. But it's a really nice place to go. It's open from Tuesday through Friday, 9 to 4, and on Saturdays, 9 to 2. It opens Memorial Weekend to Labor Day weekend, so it's just in the summertime because the buildings aren't heated or air conditioned or anything. So, but that's a really neat place to go. And then we also have our Kerwin Wildlife Refuge.
Oh, yes.
Yes. Have you ever been there?
I have, for a Boy Scout camp several years ago.
Yes, it's amazing. And I wanted to tell you there's over 10,000 acres is what the refuge is. It's over 10,778 acres. And what they have told me, and I really didn't know this, but there's over 10,000 migrating birds that come in. And at one time, there was 5,000 birds at one time. So when you go there and you see all these birds, it's just amazing. And you can hunt there, you can fish, you can do things, but it is a refuge, so you cannot boat and all that kind of different things, or ski, whatever. But they were telling me that there was over 70,000 visitors in 1 year to the refuge. So
I can understand why. It's really quite, it's beautiful.
Yes.
And with all the water and all the
Yes.
wildlife. And
Yeah.
I imagine you can camp there as well, I would
No,
think.
you
Or
cannot.
No
You
camping.
can't. By the
Maybe just
dam-
with Boy Scout troops.
Yeah, at the Boy Scout camp, there's
Yeah.
that, but you can camp over by the dam back behind
Okay.
there, but they do not allow the
Again,
camping
because
and
it's
stuff.
the refuge.
Right.
Okay, that
And
makes
one
sense.
thing that's really neat there is that they have the whooping crane that is endangered, but it's or maybe it's not. Yeah, it's endangered, but you can go and you can see that during certain times of the year, and so that's really neat. So there's that. And then we also have our CNR Railroad. Have you ever been there?
I haven't. I didn't even know
Okay,
that was a
lots
thing.
of information.
So that's why we have you on
Yes.
today. Tell us about it.
Well, the CNR Railroad, it's a quarter mile of railroad tracks inside of the Huck Boyd Community Center.
Oh, okay.
And so it was Bill Clark's and his wife and he started it when he was really young. And what's pretty neat about that is there's 143 engines.
Wow.
And 259 cars and 39 cabooses. And then he has 139 lanterns, 162 timetables, and lots of other artifacts. But if you want to go see that train, it's like we just had an event there not too long ago, and going in there, and it's like you're in this little town and you see all the trains, and it's like magic. I mean, it's just so neat. And it's in a mountain. They made the mountains, and so you're going through and you can't see the train sometimes, and it comes back around, and it's just really neat. But you have to call in and make an appointment at the Huck Boyd Community Center, and then they get the conductors or whatever to come in and should give you a show.
Drive the trains. It probably brings out the kid in everybody.
Yes, it's really neat. And then we have the Dangy Hansen Museum, and they have different exhibits every 6 to 12 weeks. They have lots of educational classes from arts to painting to anything you can imagine they have there. And they have an arts and craft fair that's the third Saturday in August. And then they also have their Labor Day celebration in Labor Day, the Sunday before. So yeah. And I wanted to talk a little bit about this. This is our end of the fort, but it's our county, to the east of Phillips County. So it's Smith County, and it is which you might have been there, the center of the 48 states in there. And so that's really cool to have that so close to us. And you can go and visit that place and relax and have a picnic and just enjoy it. And who would ever think that they can go and stand in the center of the 48?
And of course,
state
probably take some selfies, post them on social media.
That's right. That's right. And then it's also, which you probably know, our state song.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, so Home on the Range. And so that's also there in Smith County. And it's where the song was originally written, so as a poem, but then they changed it into a song. So that's really neat. And the house, the Home on the Range cabin, is on so many acres and stuff, and there's just so much for you to do there. And they've made a movie out of that, and so it's really neat for the Home on the Range, the Smith County people. So
we actually even did a What's Happening Now episode on that people could watch, but it's much better in person to go check these things out.
Yeah, so there's lots to do on this fort to fort from Hayes to Phillips County and over, and there's just a lot in between, and I think some other people will be talking about that, but we are just really excited to have someone come and tour our great state and just where we're at, Northwest Kansas. So,
well, Angie and Janet, thank you so much for telling us about the first part of the tour. We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to talk a little bit about the K-18 leg of the tour.
Some mobile phone providers think they can just take. They'll all take an arm and a leg for a new phone. Got it. And look out if you go over your data limit.
I didn't see that coming.
Unlimited data plans as low as $20 per line. Come into any of our stores for a free, upfront, and honest consultation about your data and wireless needs. Nex-Tech Wireless, the carrier you trust.
Your home's exterior is the best defense against harsh weather conditions. With insulated vinyl siding, energy-efficient windows, spray foam insulation, and metal roofing from AquaShield Roofing and Construction, you can protect your home from howling winds and ice-cold temperatures. Don't let Mother Nature interfere with the comfort of your home. Call or visit us online today for a free estimate. AquaShield Roofing and Construction. Our team is dedicated to your complete satisfaction.
And we're back talking about our special Northwest Kansas tourism segment. And I have Roger and Ashley with me, and they're going to talk about the 18 on K-18 segment of the tour. So welcome to the show. Tell me a little bit about yourselves.
Well, I'm Roger Hrabe. I'm the Economic Development Director in Rooks County. The communities of Plainville and Stockton and other communities, Palco, are on this road trip. And even though economic development, tourism is a very big part of what I do. So that's why we are part of the Northwest Kansas Travel Council.
Excellent. And Ashley, where are you from?
I'm Ashley Wickham. I am the Administrative Assistant for Russell County Economic Development in CVB, and we work closely with Roger on this 18. So,
well, this tourism, this publication is just wonderful. But how did this particular K-18 part of it get developed?
Well, originally, each year we went to the Kansas Sampler Festival as a tent from Northwest Kansas, and one of the things that we knew was going to happen after this last year was that there was going to be a big Kansas road trip, and so our thought for our tent at the time was to create these different road trips that people would enjoy, kind of as a segue, if you will, into what's going to happen this year. And so one of those trips that I created was a K-18 road trip, B-18 on K-18. The idea behind it was just to have fun things to do along. There's always historic things, and there's other things that are touristy things to do, but the idea behind this was just to have fun things to do again. Whether you're 18 or whether you're 60, it didn't matter. And so each step of the way on this is just something a little bit fun to do.
Excellent. Well, from what I understand, it starts out around Lake Wilson. Is that correct?
That's correct, and that's where.
So tell me a little bit about the beginning of the tour, Ashley.
Well, you jump off I-70, and then to get to K-18, you want to take the Post-Rock Scenic Byway. It is a beautiful view of Wilson Lake and just the wildlife that you have around there. But as you take the byway, it will eventually lead you into Lucas, which is one of the towns that is in Russell County and a part of the K-18 road trip. So when you get into Lucas, you really want to stop at like the Garden of Eden. Brant's Meat Market is there. And we also have the Bull Plaza now, which is the second best public restroom in America.
That's
It's made out of art. It's
pretty
beautiful. The men's bathroom's art is completely different than the women's bathroom. It's all mosaic. It's a good trip to be on. And then as you leave Lucas, you go into Hrabe, where the first log cabin in Russell County was built. So, and then as you leave Hrabe, you go into Waldo, and you can try to find Waldo. I'm not going to tell you where he's at in there, but you can find him. And then you leave Waldo and you go into Paradise, which they still use their limestone water tower for water. So it's a historical landmark there too.
I didn't even know that there were limestone water towers,
Yes.
and it's hard for me to even imagine. I guess it's one of those things that you have to see.
Yeah.
And so you've got the Garden of Eden on this, you've got Paradise, right?
Well, and one of the things you don't want to miss, and as a beer drinker, if you wanted to take a little skip off the dam and head over to Sylvan Grove and have a beer and very good meals at Flyboys Eatery and Brewery at Sylvan Grove, that's a little fun thing to do as well.
I didn't even realize that there was a brewery out there. So
Absolutely.
It's definitely worth taking a stop
beer.
there, right? And then something about cheeseburger in Paradise.
Well, yeah, as you go on from Ashley's road trip from Paradise, and one of the things to do, and there's several places to stop for a cheeseburger, but in fact the convenience store at Hrabe there has cheeseburgers, and so grab a cheeseburger there and go sit in front of the water tower that Ashley mentioned, which is really a beautiful picture-taking site, and to have a cheeseburger in Paradise, and maybe you'd have to ask an older person what that means, but it's still it's a fun thing to do. After that, you head up to the small town of Natoma, and you could stop and have a cup of coffee at the French Press. Coffee and the specialty drinks is a fun thing to do, and there's several things in Natoma to see. And then an interesting thing to do, a fun thing to do, would be to stop at the little town of Codell. Codell is known in Ripley's Believe It or Not for being struck by a tornado 3 years in a row on the same exact day, May 20th, 1916, 1917, and 1918. And this year, they are celebrating the 100th anniversary of that final tornado, and so they will be commemorating a monument. So by the time this show airs, there will be an actual steel monument there of a tornado, and it would be just a fun picture-taking opportunity and to learn a little bit more about that unusual event that happened those 3 years.
I actually just read an article on that very thing because one of my best friends is making the monument, and so I wanted to read about it. It is a very fascinating story and will be worth stopping by.
And hopefully they will have interpretation there too eventually that will talk about each one, because each one was a little bit different, and it was the final one that kind of was the nail in the coffin, if you want to say that went through the middle of town. So. After that, you head up to the largest community on this particular road trip is the community of Plainville, which has some interesting things. The park down by the swimming pool that has some historic rock benches that take a rest there by the pool and take a swim if it's the summertime. It's free, doesn't cost anything.
Right.
And then as you head west, well, let me say one other thing about Plainville, because it's a fun thing to do that seems a little bit unusual why you'd want to go to a hospital. But the Rooks County Health Center on the north end of Plainville has some fabulous artwork. And you can go in the foyer and literally it's almost looks like a barn, but it has the architecture does, but the artwork is fantastic. So make a stop there. Then as you head west, a person can take a slight jog to north from Zurich to Webster Lake, or go on west to Palco, take in a movie at the McKenna Center, fun thing to do. And then maybe the last stop, or one of the last stops, DeMar and Bogue are both historic towns for different reasons, but the the church in DeMar is St. Joseph's Church is just absolutely fantastic, and it's usually open. You can enjoy not only the French Canadian community of DeMar, but you can see what really is the bedrock of that community, and that is the church itself. So it's just a fun thing to do, a fun town to be in, and a great restaurant, and said be 18 again, like 18.
Well, sounds like between having cheeseburgers in paradise and all the things you listed, it sounds like a fun part of the tour.
It is a fun. That was the intent, was to make a fun trip that someone could take from I-70 and work their way back to I-70 at Colby or that area.
Great. Well, thank you for telling us about the B18 on K18 part of the tour. But we've got a lot more for you, so we're going to take another break, and we'll be back to continue our tour of Northwest Kansas.
Storage Solutions is invested in complete customer satisfaction. You can choose a drive-up unit or a climate-controlled unit. Plus, you can choose from storage units of all sizes to fit your inventory. And that's not all. They'll sign for your packages and deliver and unload them into your unit. Storage Solutions has been named in the top 100 U-Haul dealers 6 times. Rent a pickup, cargo van, or moving truck to keep your goods on the go. Remember, making moving and storing easy is Storage Solutions in Hayes and Victoria.
What a girl wants in her home kitchen. Ease of use, flexibility, fun, the latest kitchen design, Frigidaire Professional Real Stainless Steel for fewer finger smudges, a French door refrigerator, convection cooking, a quiet dishwasher. Have the staff at Genuine Appliance in Hayes demonstrate new Frigidaire Professional appliances to find what you want. Genuine Appliance at 1224 East 27th in Hayes. Everything a girl wants.
And we're back talking on our special segment of What's Happening Now about some amazing tourism opportunities throughout Northwest Kansas. The next leg of our tour is the Three Rivers Tour, and I have Cathy here to tell you all about that. Cathy, welcome back to the show. Cathy, tell us a little bit about what you do.
My name is Cathy Albert, and I'm the director of the Waukeeny Travel and Tourism, and also the director of the Smoky Valley Scenic Byway, which is right outside of Waukeeny.
Well, tell us a little bit about the Three Rivers part of the Northwest Kansas tour.
The Three Rivers part, we kind of consider that the Smoky Valley, Hill River, the Solomon River, and the Prairie Dog Creek. There's lots to see and do. You just need to get off I-70. That's the main thing. You have to get off that superhighway and do some little exploring, and there's lots of adventures out there, whether you're looking for history or nature or culture or scenic views. There's all kinds of things to see and do along the tour.
Great. Well, how does this part of the tour start? Where do you start at?
We're going to start on the Smoky Valley Scenic Byway, which is southeast of Waukeeny. It's a 60-mile U-shaped route that goes, you actually start on I-70 and end on I-70, 8 miles apart. So it's very easy to go on. It includes, we've got windmills, we've got lots of limestone outcroppings, because once you get off I-70, the landscape becomes very rugged. And then we've got the history with the BOD and the Smoky Hill Trail. And then, of course, there's lots of recreation down at Cedar Bluff State Park and Reservoir.
And from what I understand, you can see bald eagles there if you go on the right day.
Yes, you can. And there's some really good viewing spots if you go down the bluffs down on the south shore of the lake. That's what the Cedar Bluff was named for when it was built, is the cedar trees that were on the 100-foot bluffs down there. And you can still drive out there and view out over the lake and see all the wildlife, and it's a very pretty sight. We've also got, in season, we've got lots of native wildflowers, whether it be the Indian blanket, the yucca, coneflowers, sunflowers, of course, and others. But the sight that I love is when you're driving down the highway and the hills are just bright orange with the Indian blanket blooming. It's a really pretty sight. So
that sounds just gorgeous. I'm not even familiar with what Indian blanket is.
It's Gaillardia is the technical name for it, but it looks like almost like a sunflower that's got oranges and yellows and all different shades of orange and red and yellow on it.
I think I'm gonna have to come check that out. So after you do that part of the tour, where else can you go visit?
Then we also, while you're in the Waukeeny area, you've got to go out and check out Shiloh Vineyard and Winery. It's just southwest of Waukeeny. Actually, they grow their own grapes there.
Wow.
You can go and take a tasting in the chicken coop, which was fixed up into the tasting room, or they fixed up the barn, and it is open for events. And the thing that I love is to sit out on the deck, buy a bottle of wine and drink wine and look out at the sunset and over the vines and everything. It's just most people don't have any idea that there's something like this in Northwest Kansas.
And Nex-Tech's actually had a couple of company picnics in that area because everybody loved it so much. They said, let's do it again. So
yes,
I've heard great things about it.
And then while you're over there in that area, going over to Collier and turn off I-70 and go down to Castle Rock. It's a very scenic drive down to Castle Rock. Castle Rock was a landmark on the Smoky Hill Trail, or BOD, which stands for Butterfield's Overland Dispatch. But anyway, and then there's lots of badlands down there behind the actual spire that is Castle Rock. But you can do all kinds of exploring. Just take a picnic and go out there with your kids or grandkids, and you'll have a ball.
I've heard it's just a wonderful place to take pictures and spend some time exploring. And I can't believe I've lived in this area for 16 years and haven't made it there yet, but it's still on my list.
Yes.
So after we go visit Castle Rock, then what?
Well, then we're going to head up 283 and we'll stop at Hill City, and then we'll take a little jog to the east and go over to Nicodemus, which is a National Historic Site. You can stop there and visit. They have a welcome center there that you can take a tour through, and they've got movies that you can view. But probably the biggest thing they have is the Emancipation Celebration, which is the end of July. And that town just swells with people from all over the country that come back for that. So
wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, because Nicodemus is the only remaining town that was founded by slaves after the Civil War, so west of the Mississippi. So, and then if you go west, you can go over to Cottonwood Ranch. It's a national or a state historic site. I'm sorry. Anyway, it's you can tour the farmstead as well as the sheep. It was a sheep ranch that was started by an Englishman, John Fenton Pratt, back in the 1800s. So it's a really unique place to visit and do a little touring around. They have a walking tour that you can take, or then you can stop in Moreland at the bank there. The bank changed hands. It's now the People's State Bank, but they have a bas relief mural on the front of the bank that commemorates the Minium quarry, fossil quarry dig. So anyway, there's lots of fun things to do in that area, and then head on up 283 some more till you get to Norton. It's clear up on Highway 36, and they've got probably the most unique thing they have there is they also ran gallery. It's in the First State Bank, and it's for all the candidates that ran for president through the years but lost. And so they've got biographies and pictures of each one of those people. I mean, the day after the election, this last election, the loser's picture was put up. So
wow.
they keep current. And then downtown Norton is an historic district. It's probably the main thing you want to see is maybe the 3 historic gas stations that have been restored. I don't know if any of you remember Dino, the dinosaur that used to sit on top of gas stations. They have one of those down there. And so it's really neat. Their historic district downtown, it includes the Lions House as well as the Art Deco Norton Theater. They just got lots of historic buildings and homes. I believe the museum there was a WPA project. So lots of things to see there. And of course, you always want to go out to Prairie Dog State Park and Sibelius Reservoir. It's got great fishing, camping, boating, whatever you want to do out there. It's just 3 miles west of Norton. And Norton is also known as the pheasant capital of the state. So
oh, is that right? I did not know that.
Good hunting up there, as well as besides the pheasant, there's also turkeys and deer, and so lots to see and do up there in the area. So,
well, that sounds like several days worth of entertainment for the summer to go on the Three Rivers part of the tour.
Yeah, and just pack your fishing pole and pack a picnic lunch and take off and go exploring and maybe do a little geocaching along the way, and lots of fun things for families to do that doesn't cost a lot.
That's one of my favorite things about all of this. It's all around us. We all live here. Go out and explore.
Yes.
Well, thank you again for being back on the show, Cathy, and we have more to come. So we're going to take a quick break and we're going to continue our tour.
Hi.
We're looking for insurance.
Let's see who's free.
When insurance agents work for only one company, their options are simply limited. But a trusted choice independent agent is free to shop many companies for a better deal. Free to do what's right for you.
Let us shop for you. Contact Rogers & Associate to learn more.
Make a difficult choice an easy one with Cedar View Assisted Living's knowledgeable and caring staff. Your loved one will be professionally taken care of as they transition into their new community. With movies, holiday parties, planned exercises, and games, residents will have opportunities every day to enjoy their time at Cedar View. Multiple room styles are available, ensuring a just right fit for your loved one. Come see Cedar View Assisted Living for yourself next to Sternberg Museum. The care you need, the home you want.
And we're back to the very special edition of What's Happening Now. And we're talking all about some amazing tourism opportunities throughout Kansas. And our next guest is Jayne, and Jayne is here to tell us about a little bit of the western part of the tour. So welcome, Jayne. Tell us a little bit about what you do.
Sure. Thanks for having us today, Jenny. My name is Jayne Humphrey Pearce. I'm with the Wallace County Visitors Bureau, and I represent this part of the tour that goes from Colby and then goes along the Western Vistas Byway. So we'd like to invite people and tell them all there is to do out in that area.
Well, tell us how we should start our tour and what we're going to see.
Okay. Well, I suggest that you get off of I-70 at Colby, and they call themselves the Oasis on the Plains for a really good reason. It's a great place to get fueled up, go to their many motels and restaurants and services, and then also they have a unique silo visitor center there right off of I-70. It's very pretty, and they're constantly staffed, and they have great information about how to complete your tour along this route. So, and then also the Prairie Museum of Art and History is there. It has the Cooper Barn, the largest barn in Kansas, quite a sight. And then their famous Cusca collection, they and their staff just do an excellent job there. They have an excellent aquatic park, so you can go and take a dip, or the kids can, there in Colby, as well as their beautiful historic Thomas County Courthouse with a beautiful sculpture in front, and you'll want to check that out. So and then you can keep going.
Okay, great.
All right, let's go on south. Let's go southeast on 70 again. Let's go down to Oakley.
Okay.
And there at Oakley, you're going to stop for the legend and stay for the day, because they're all about their history there. They really commemorate a lot of Western characters there, and including there at the Buffalo Bill Cultural Center, the beautiful statue of Buffalo Bill deep into the hunt for his prey of this running buffalo. It's quite a stunning sight. And you can go inside for travel information also there at the Buffalo Bill Cultural Center.
Great.
And then also they have a wonderful museum. I'm a museum hound myself. I really like museums. They do an excellent job at the Fick Fossil Museum. They have, it's world renowned. It has a worldwide reputation, and it's for a good reason. They have excellent fossil collections as well as pioneer interpretations there in their museum.
Oh, that's fascinating. So what the people that found them thought, or what are the pioneer interpretations?
Oh, just lots of things. They have a sod house there inside of the museum. Lots
excellent.
of, they have items from the pioneers. They have tools. They have plows, and just really interpret the pioneer era and the artifacts, the things that people used back then.
Oh, that sounds, so you get quite you get the fossils and then the Western life.
They span a nice array of history there.
Great. So what do we do next? I mean, we've already done quite a bit, but
yeah, no, we can't stop now. We've got to get on the Victory Highway there at on I-40. Okay, that's a very historic highway, very historic route, because that is along the original Smoky Hill Trail and the Butterfield Overland Dispatch, just like Cathy was talking about, where the stagecoach line ran. It was the most direct route between Leavenworth and Denver. And it was also preceded, it was a hunting route by Indians. It's been used by people for thousands of years, and now you can travel it too. You can be the latest. So you're going to be passing close by, and you can go south off of 40 to the Smoky Valley Ranch, which is part of the Kansas Nature Conservancy. And they have wonderful tours. They have the steel homestead, but they have something very exciting coming in the near future. It's going to be Kansas's newest state park.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they're about to approve it. It's going to be the Little Jerusalem Badlands State Park. And it's going to be one of the most exciting new places to visit. It's a place of stunning natural beauty and these limestone formations. And we're just really excited about bringing that onto our byway.
That is exciting to have a new state park. So that's amazing.
Yeah, fun. So let's keep going west.
All right.
Go west. So we're going to go on toward through some small towns, some wonderful views of the Smoky Hill River. We're going to go toward the historic town of Wallace. And Wallace has a wonderful museum there. It's the Fort Wallace Museum, and it commemorates the stories from when Wallace and that whole area was a boom town and was a very important place with the clash of cultures between the people who were committed to westward expansion and Native Indian tribes who were fighting to preserve their way of life. So that's very well preserved. We have a brand new wing there, the Milford Becker Edition, and we've got facades of buildings in there. We've got a stagecoach inside that you can sit inside, as well as a 40-foot plesiosaur that was found by one of the fort surgeons in 1867. So there's also a life-size bronze of the famous scout William Comstock, and there's stories from the 7th Cavalry, the 10th Cavalry Buffalo Soldiers, all assortment of characters from the Wild West, including Cody, Hickok, and the stories from the Kansas Pacific Railroad.
That sounds just absolutely fascinating. Spend some time there for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Let's keep going west. Let's go a little further.
Okay.
Let's go to Sharon Springs and let's get fueled up and have a meal and stay maybe at our wonderful bed and breakfast there, the Mount Sunflower Bed and Breakfast in Sharon Springs, as well as visit our Radial Wrench Museum. This incredible assortment of wrenches that have been used with farm implements and cars and all kinds of things through the years. And also the historic Wallace County Courthouse.
Oh, okay.
And then you can keep going west if you'd like and go to Weskin. They are making a beautiful Veterans Memorial Plaza.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's really incredible what that little tiny town is doing there. And then you can go north to Mount Sunflower, the highest point in Kansas, get a great view, get a selfie with the sculpture.
You bet.
Sign in on the visitors register. And then we got to fly on back to Oakley. So let's get back to Oakley. Keep in mind that you can pick up the Land and Sky Byway right there in Sharon Springs also. It's at the heart of two byways.
Oh, wow. So it's a pretty convenient place to make a stop, for
sure. Exactly. And then let's go to the Butterfield Trail Museum. Off of 40, you're going to go south on County Road 25. And let's go on down to Russell Springs, the Butterfield Trail Museum. And they interpret the Butterfield Trail stagecoach line there.
Well, that's a wonderful assortment of museums and history and places to dine and outdoor scenery. So there's a little bit of everything in that.
Well, and we're going to end up with some pretty spectacular stuff going south from Oakley on 83. Let's not miss the Monument Rocks, one of the most photographed sites in all of Kansas. It's Kansas, one of the 8 wonders of Kansas, and it's a photographer's paradise. Absolutely beautiful. And you'll see everywhere the remnants of the Great Cretaceous Sea. That's what limestone is. It's the little creatures, sea creatures from the Great Cretaceous Sea. Don't miss the Keystone Gallery with lots of fossils and fossil art. And then go ahead and swing on down to Scott City with the historic Lake Scott State Park, the El Cortalejo Steak Historic Site, the El Cortalejo Museum, and the Jerry Thomas Gallery and Collection down in Scott City.
Well, this is just a wonderful assortment of things. And as we mentioned in the first segment, there is a beautiful publication that tells all of these different things and even has the map in it. And we'll share a link with you of where that is. But
perfect.
Jayne, what a wonderful tour. We've talked about the center of the United States, the tallest point in the United States, and all kinds of wonderful things to do. So
Western Kansas is where it's at.
absolutely. Well, we have one more stop on this amazing tour, so don't forget to tune back in. We'll be right back.
Technology changes every day. Whether you want to keep up with the latest technology or master the gadgets you've already got, Nex-Tech University is here for you. Our experts will help you navigate the technology world, from business cloud computing to the iCloud, computer security, software, smartphones, and even must-have geek gifts. Nex-Tech's experts will share useful tips, tricks, and more to help with today's technology and keep you up to date on the hottest trends. Tune in to Nex-Tech University or Nex-Tech Local 1, YouTube, and Nex-Tech On Demand.
Hi, I'm Deborah Anderson, the host of Local Flavor. It's a show where we get cooking with people who make great food and who love to share the tips and tricks that help us learn to make it ourselves. Whether it's sweets or savories, Local Flavor has something for everyone who likes to eat. You can find Local Flavor on Nex-Tech Local 1, nextech.com, or watch when it's convenient for you with video on demand.
And we're back, and we have one more amazing segment on all the tourism things you can do in Northwest and Western Kansas. And we have Helen here with us. And Helen is going to tell us about the Land and Sky Road trip. And this one is a little bit unique from some of the other ones we've talked about, but still some amazing stops. So Helen, tell us a little bit about what you do.
I work for the Cheyenne County Development Corporation in Cheyenne County and represent economic development and tourism in St. Francis, Wheeler, and Bird City. And I'm also the president of the Land and Sky Scenic Byway Committee, which we're very proud of. It's the 12th and the newest byway in the state of Kansas, and it is the only agricultural themed byway in the nation.
Oh, wow. Well, that is something to be proud of. So tell us a little bit about your leg of the tour.
Well, our leg of the tour begins in Sharon Springs at the intersection of US 40 and Kansas Highway 27. It begins at the end of the Western Vistas Byway and heads north on Highway 27 through Goodland, Wheeler, St. Francis, up to the Kansas-Nebraska state line. And so we have a lot of agriculture to see. As you drive the byway, and depending on what season, you can see the crops that we grow, which are, wheat, corn, milo, and various other things. In Sharon Springs, you can take a tour of 21st Century Bean, which is a packaging plant for different kinds of beans. Some that are grown in the area and some of them are not. There's also a general store there that you can visit during the week and buy bulk food in there, different notions and things, sometimes fresh fruit and vegetables, and also frozen foods. And as you continue north on the highway, it's another way to get to Mount Sunflower, which, as Jane mentioned, is the highest point in Kansas. And continue on north towards Goodland. We have a wildlife area in there, and there's places in there to have a picnic. You can fish in there. There's a lot of work going on, so hopefully we'll have some new news on that before long. There's also a disc golf course there. And as you come into Goodland, one of the famous things in Goodland is the Van Gogh painting.
Yes, certainly.
Which stands very high, and if you take your picture underneath it, you look like a little midget. A lot of photo ops there. And as well as in the parks in Goodland, they have other paintings that you can see.
So as you continue through Goodland, and I'm guessing you see some wildlife on that tour as well, if you're lucky, maybe some prairie dogs. Or...
you'll probably see antelope and deer, a lot of pheasants and turkeys on the highway, or hopefully not on the highway, but there are a lot of wildlife for sure.
So after you go through Goodland, what's next on the drive?
Well, in Goodland, you should probably stop at the High Plains Museum. They have the replica of the first patented helicopter there.
Oh, wow.
So it's really something neat to see. And then as you travel north, shortly after you leave Goodland, you'll need to stop for a photo op. There is a grasshopper that you can't miss. It was made out of tractor parts. And there's a place you can pull off the highway and take your picture. There's a little sign there that says it's 5 o'clock somewhere, and you can sit down, take your picture under a palm tree.
And you don't see that very often in Kansas.
No,
Maybe
no, you
Oakley
don't.
and Colby
right,
and,
right.
and Goodland. So,
Right.
Okay. After you've taken your picture with the grasshopper and you've had your 5 o'clock somewhere, how do you continue the tour?
Well, you continue going north, and you'll pass several feed yards, which there are tours at those if you'd like to go in and see what happens there. We also have, as you get to Wheeler, you can go east, and there's a tour of the dairy that's there, and they produce milk for Denon Yogurt. They also have the Tri-State Engine and Thresher Show there annually, which starts the last Thursday of July for 4 days. And in addition to different thresher shows and things like that, they also have displays of old-time things like different rooms and homes. They have Queen that they celebrate every year. And the following year, they dedicate a doll that looks exactly like her, which is in the museum, so they have those. There's a sod house and an old chapel, a schoolhouse, where they have the children come in and make things. There's just a fun for the whole family kind of thing. And then if you go on to St. Francis, we have a motorcycle museum, which is now 2 years old. We've had about 35 countries represented with the people that have come there. And almost all of the states. We have over 115 motorcycles of various vintages and makes, models in there. And it was a project that the community did. It's all paid for with donations and fully staffed 7 days a week from 10 to 5.
That's
for you to come
very
and
unique.
visit.
You don't hear of museums run by the community. That's really neat.
So it's been really good. We have a new aquatic park that opened last year, a great slide in that. We also have the Cheyenne County Museum, which is finishing its renovation, has the history of Cheyenne County in there, and also a place where you can go and do your genealogy if you like. And we also have the Quincy Gallery, which is an art gallery that has shows monthly with various artists from out the United States. There's also a gift shop there. And then you probably want to stop at Fresh 7 and maybe grab a cup of coffee and to go. It is really a unique coffee house. They grind their own beans and is in a building that was gutted and is partially renovated, but it's really a unique experience there. Or you can stop at one of our restaurants in town. We have a new one, Caddy Shack at Riverside, which is a sports bar out by our golf course. And then the Indian Cherry Creek Encampment is a dedication to the Indians, which is out on Highway 27, which is part of our byway. And then at the end of the route, you would like to go to the Rickery Breaks, which is our mini Grand Canyon.
Oh, I'd never even heard of that. So tell me more about that.
And so there's 2 ways to get there. One is if you drive 14 miles north of St. Francis, you'll come to an overlook and you go through different kinds of fields of different crops and things like that. And all of a sudden it just drops off. And you see where Kansas definitely is not flat.
Oh, wow.
A lot of great photo ops and things like that. Or you can go on the other side and enter the breaks from Highway 27, which also goes up to 3 Corners, which really isn't 3 Corners, but Colorado, Kansas, and Nebraska meet, and there's a plaque up there that you can sign in on and stand on the 3 Corners all at once. There's also an iron picnic table on the way up there that you can stop and have your family have a picnic or just relax and visit. I think the one thing that about most of our byways is that it's an expensive way to travel. Mm-hmm. We don't have a lot of fees to be paid, and it can be enjoyable for all the family.
That's what I've just loved today, hearing about all of these places that you can go all throughout western and northwest Kansas, and most of them are free, not all of them, but at great value. And yes, you just take a road trip, gas prices are good, and so many places to eat and drink and take pictures and tour and learn. And again, all of this is featured in the publication that we'll list on the screen right now, so you can learn more. You can see the maps, and we'll try to share them with you too. But we just encourage you to get out there this summer and enjoy where you live and explore. And if you'd like to learn more, certainly visit their website. Also, you can watch this video again on YouTube and lots of Nex-Tech's local content. We have cooking shows, all kinds of craft shows, just about everything you'd like to watch. And also check out our Facebook page to learn more. Thank you so much. It was great having the whole group on today. And thanks for watching this special episode of What's Happening Now.